What's up, guys? You read the title, you know what's up. And if you can't read, no, this isn't the Tom Cruise movie from '85. This is a movie where Tom Hardy plays the Cray twins. You also got Emily Browning, Paul Bettany, and a few other cool actors in the movie. But you really just see this movie because Tom Hardy just whoops ass at acting. So if you don't know, the Crays were two brothers that kind of rose to prominence in the 50s and 60s as like crime lords in the East End in London. And Tom Hardy, dude is fucking incredible. Like, he's so fucking good in this movie. However, after watching the movie a couple of times, this movie definitely has a couple of issues that I feel that I need to bring up. Now I'm gonna start off by saying overall, I really like the movie, and I've seen it multiple times. It is very rewatchable. But the movie kind of suffers from identity crisis. The problem is there's really no specific plot for the movie. Now, the first half hour kind of focuses on, like, Emily Browning and the one brother's, like, relationship for a while. So you think it's gonna be, like, kind of a love story with kind of, like, a gangster angle to it. But this movie kind of feels like it's three movies kind of, like, clashed into one. One of them is Reg and Emily Browning's character's relationship and their marriage. And then another plot point focuses on the Crays and the gangsters that they are, kind of expanding their empire. And then on top of that, it kind of shows like the brotherly relationship that they have and how conflicted it is and how it's kind of one-sided. The movie doesn't really focus on any one thing. It's just like kind of muddled together, and the movie's kind of a mess as far as like what plot it was really going for. Like, it just felt like a montage that the Crays happened to be in for like 2/3 of the movie. And that's really like the main fault of the movie. I don't really have any other complaints besides that. But the problem with the plot being the main issue that I have with it, it kind of ripples into everything else, and it kind of affects how you feel about the movie as a whole and not just that one aspect. That being said, other than that, there's nothing bad about this movie. There wasn't anything in it that was uninteresting. They could have picked any one of the three like plot outlines that I gave earlier and just went with that, and it would have been a good movie. I feel like if they would have done a little bit more work in the editing room, maybe cut the movie down a little bit, because the movie's 2 hours and 10 minutes, and that's not too long of a movie. But for this particular movie, for the kind of thing that they were going for, probably a little bit too long, and they probably could have cut out a lot of stuff. But if I had a personal preference as to what the movie really should have been about, it should have been about the brotherly love between the twins and how that like affected each other positively and negatively. Like, it should have been a movie about crime families and how that dynamic worked out. But it just felt like there was a little bit too much like tacked on. Like there was too many like PSs at the end of every plot turn. But don't let that discourage you. There is so much cool shit in this movie, whether or not it's told in the best linear way possible. This is a really fun movie to watch. Like I said before, Tom Hardy just annihilates this movie. He just chews it up. He has so much charisma. A little bit of that is from like the makeup, because they spruced up Ronnie Cray a little bit and made him look a little bit different, like he'd been in a few brawls. But the fact that that one twin looks different doesn't mean that the other twin is just regular like Tom Hardy. Even when he's playing the closer to normal twin, he's still acting. Like, he's noticeable, like you can tell he messed with his voice a little bit. So his versatility as an actor really fucking comes out. If you weren't sold on Tom Hardy in, you know, every other movie because he kicks ass in pretty much everything, this is a movie that will turn you on to Tom Hardy and how fucking good he is. And I felt like that's another thing the movie could have just been. Like, some movies embrace the fact that they're ridiculous and some are a little bit more meta, like, you know, like a Deadpool kind of movie. But if this movie focused on just the fact that this is just a big vehicle for Tom Hardy and the twins had like 95% of the screen time instead of more like 65 to 70%, and they just let Tom Hardy like run with it, I felt like it would have been a little bit more of a cohesive movie. But still, he does so much cool shit in this movie that it's like you can't turn away. It's just fucking all over the place. And he's not the only one. All the acting in this movie is fucking sweet. Emily Browning is like a really underrated actress in my opinion. I might just be saying that because I've had a thing for her ever since I was in middle school, and I really wish she was in more shit, because like I said, she's awesome. And really everybody they got in this movie, from like the police chief to the rival gangs to their mom, everybody came to work and they brought their A game. Oh, and also I think this is the first time Taron Egerton was ever like in a movie of any kind, like a big like full-length feature. And if you don't know anything about that guy, watch Kingsman. Seriously. And I love the way the movie looked too. Like, you really felt like you were in like another time period. Then again, I've never been to London, so I don't know how it looks today, but the feel and the vibe that I was getting from it, it felt like it was from a different era. And lastly, they did a good job on all the fight scenes. Anytime Crazy Twin went off on somebody, the brutality came off like very, very apparently. And the build up to some of the fight scenes that you see in the movie were actually pretty awesome. There's like a certain setting that you see and you're just like, oh man, some shit's about to go down. Or two people are talking and you know somebody's about to get shot. Just the build of tension throughout the movie for random moments was actually really well done, despite the off pacing. Overall, this is just like a fun movie. Just don't think about the plot too much. And like I said, Tom Hardy, fucking unforgettable. So for a rating, probably gonna go for 8.3. If the movie had a more definitive through line, I definitely would have rated it something higher, because this movie had a lot going for it. Plus, you get to learn a little bit about gangsters and like the London Mafia. So for no other reason, watch the movie at least once, just so you can see Tom Hardy beat the shit out of people and act like a crazy person, but also act sane and sound standing right next to himself. Anywho, kids, that was my 2 cents for the day. Hope it was worth it. If you got a chance to see this movie, great. Leave a comment, let me know what you thought. And if you like this review, like, subscribe, share, all that other shit. And I'll see you guys next time.